Hello, beautiful people of first year. This is the third week. This is the last week that we talk about gesture specifically. We are going to get back to gesture drawing because gesture is everything. And the more you grow in your drawing, the more you will have in your gesture, the more you will gain in your gesture. Today also we're going to talk about how drawing is a way of thinking, way of communication, and how we start from the concrete, what is in actual word, and then we make abstraction of that concrete thing, and that's how we are able to think about stuff. We make abstract concept about them, and then we start seeing the relation between different things in a very abstract level, and then when we get to a conclusion, we come back and we understand the concrete better, we change it, we make sense of it. This is how we think, and this is exactly what happens in drawing. I'm going to explain this more when students are here, but this is the main focus of today's lesson, and where the gesture fits into this thinking process, or thinking visual thinking. Gesture is the most abstract suggestion, and we're going to talk about what are the elements of this abstract suggestion, visual abstract suggestion of reality. These are things that we're going to talk today. It's a little bit philosophical, but I think drawing is very deep and important thing. It's not just what we needed for animation or we use it in painting. It's a lot more important than that. When you learn more stuff, it's going to affect your gesture. Gesture is a never-ending topic for us. But before going to 2D studies and 3D studies, next step, this is the last class that I talked about gesture. And I want to start with this, that drawing in general, it's a way of thinking. And gesture has a very important place in this way of thinking. I want to explain this, why drawing is a way of thinking and how important that is. First of all, think anything man-made, anything we have made, human being, you think of anything, there is a drawing behind that thing. Start from objects around yourself, the donkey, the platform that you see, this board, drawing board, the building that you see, the easel, your phone. Whatever is man-made, there is a drawing behind it. The spaceship, the Hubble telescope in space, everything that we made, there is a drawing behind it. Every building, every famous building, every whatever you think, every car. And we communicate with drawing, and not just that, we also think with drawing. Drawing is a way of thinking that is, in many ways, is a lot faster than language and than talking. Of course, you can say music is the same, or dance is the same, or all different kind of arts are the same. But drawing is very specific. Drawing has a major role in this way, communicating visually. Drawing is behind also writing. You look at the first writing, it's like drawing, you know, and then you think of cave drawings that, you know, they go 40,000 years ago, and you can see that these drawings is also way of expressing, way of communicating with each other. It's kind of primitive religion, maybe, I don't know. But this is something that happened around, I don't know, 40, 50,000 years ago. At some point that we start behaving like the modern human being that we know, and drawing is part of that behavior. Drawing is part of that revolution that happened and Homo sapiens came to be. Then I want to say drawing is, in my opinion, drawing is something important, as important as language, in my opinion. Then it is a way of thinking, it is a way of communicating, and it's a powerful tool in our hand. And it becomes more and more powerful when our technology advances. For example, look at this information revolution that happened, and now we are in the midst of it. And drawing, picture becomes more and more important. Visual communication, visual understanding, and visual thinking become more and more important. Animation especially become more important. Anyways, just the next question is, if the drawing is a way of thinking as well, then how we think when we draw, how's the procedures or steps in this way of thinking. Again, in my opinion, it's no different than other kind of thinking. We start with concrete. We start with when we want to think about something. We start with what our senses are telling us, what we're seeing. And then we need to know what that is. We make kind of abstraction in our head, and we reach to a point that explains that thing, or name that thing, or recognize that thing. And then, for example, I can say, look at the tree there. Tree, the word tree that you see there, this word, I mean the tree doesn't exist. There are objects there with branches and leaves and trunk. They have some characteristic that we sort of make an abstraction and call that thing tree. There is not tree as such. That tree is very different than the next one to it, and two of them are exactly the same. They're all different trees, but we call them tree. Anyway, this abstraction is very important. This capacity of making abstract concept is very important for thinking. The same thing happens in drawing. We start, and this is very much related to gesture. That's why I'm talking about it. When you look at something and you want to get the essence of that, the visual essence of that thing, you have to go to gesture. Gesture is a very abstract suggestion of that thing. And then when you have that abstract suggestion of that thing or that pose or that whatever you want to draw, whatever you want to communicate with other people, and whatever you want to think about it as well. When your abstract suggestion and understanding is correct, then you can go back layer by layer, add other stuff, and reach to the concrete. For example, if I want to draw him, the first step is very abstract gesture of him. And I look at my gesture, and if my gesture is correct, then now I can go back layer by layer by layer, go to the concrete and go to the very detail. Are you following me? This abstract and concrete? This is what happens in drawing, and gesture is that abstract suggestion. That's why this is another reason to understand gesture, why gesture is so important in drawing. We talked about other aspects in previous classes. I just want to mention this, that this way of thinking, which is drawing, gesture has a very important and important place and major role in this thinking. Now you can ask, natural questions after this. Okay, this gesture is just abstract thinking. Does it have any characteristic, any elements that we talked about before a little bit? I want to explain more. Yes, whatever is related to drawing, whatever is going to be your final drawing, it will be present in your gesture from the beginning in a very abstract form. Weight is going to be present, gravity is going to be present, movement is going to be present, composition is going to be present. If we are talking about the human figure, anatomy is going to be present, structure is going to be present, whatever is related to your drawing, any drawing is going to be present in your gesture. Again, in a very abstract form, but it needs to be there in order to work on it. And all these elements are there. Major elements like weight, like composition, like movement. By composition also, I mean how things are located in space. What is the relationship between different parts of the body? And then is there. Now if we go a little bit more concrete, the way that I'm explaining it. For example, imagine there is a pose like that. Again, pose like that. I'm doing it like Corey that always does that. I'm doing that. Look at this pose. This is a quick gesture of the pose. Then if you want to analyze it, you can go, okay, there is line of action going something like that, right? Going something like that. Line of action works a lot of times, but doesn't work sometimes, and you have to think of everything. But also there is weight coming here, and then also not just weight. There is structure. For example, the chest, the box of chest going like that, and the box of hip going like that, right? The box of hip going like that. And the movement of the spine going like that. These three boxes, head, head, chest, and hip is very important. And you have to pay attention that in a normal position, human being has got something like that. This is the chest, this is the hip, and this is the leg. And in normal position, the position of these three boxes are something like that. Something like that, yeah. The boxes, this box going that way, this box going that way, and this box is going sort of straight, like that. These three boxes that are always there in different poses, where are they? Every time try to recognize them, every time try to see them. And if you don't have much time to see the whole boxes, at least you have to see the axle of shoulder, you have to see axle of hip. By axle of the hip, I mean, if you call this the hip bones, where they go, and if you call these bones the shoulder, where the axle is going. Then this, and also the position of the spine is very important. When it comes to the leg, pay attention how when we want to balance the weight, there are lots of S-curves that you have to pay attention to and keep the balance right. And then as you see, and then also composition that I told you, composition is there. You know, for example, this the composition of this pose, you know, how the movement of the arm, one coming towards us, one going away from us, you know, and how these one, I mean the legs are also located in space. You can think of that when you do your gesture. And everything, you have to look at everything. Then making it very simplified, that, you know, start with the head or start with line of action, as I told you last week, is to me is kind of too simple. It's better to think of different things, and if you want to start from anywhere, my suggestion is start from your feeling. Start from what you like. Start from what is interesting about that pose, right? But everything else should be there. I mean, the line of action is important, the position of the chest and hip and the spine and how it's moving in space, the composition, the balance, everything is important. Where to start? Start from where you like, where it's fascinating to you. And this is important. Start with your heart. I mean, draw with your heart, with your passion. And go for that. These are some more aspect of gesture and gesture drawing. If you have any questions, it's time to ask. Otherwise, you're going to start drawing, and I'm going to demonstrate. And if you watch the video, you can see my demonstration video better. Because of the COVID-19 thing, I cannot ask you to come and see what I'm doing. But watch the video, the demonstration is there. I'm going to demonstrate everything I was talking about. Okay? No question? Should we draw? Okay, let's start drawing. That's a nice pose. Okay, everybody, should we start again? This hour we're going to have longer poses, 3 minutes. And what I'm asking you to do is put everything together regarding the gesture, whatever we have learned so far. For example, I remind you last week we were talking about, we were working on 15 seconds and then 45 seconds to, to get the essence, to get a very abstract suggestion. And now you have some elements to look for and to pay attention to. For example, the axle of the shoulder and the axle of the hip, the spine, the weight, how the body is located in space, how the boxes of the body are located in space, in what relationship. Look at all those things in your 45 seconds. Try to get those, and still after 1 minute, you have a pretty good idea of your gesture, and you still have 2 minutes to work on it, to even go to surface, put some tones and some surface anatomy. Try to put everything together with the 3 minutes that we have. Next class, we're gonna go to 2D studies and then 3D studies. And we will keep gesture, and on top of gesture, we start doing some 2D studies. This is the last class that we focus on gesture, and I want you to, in this last hour, put everything together, as I said. Okay? Is that right? Okay, let's start.